Good morning, Saints. And I need some help from some East Africans. Mukama Simwe? Simwe Mananga, yes. So, we need to get this up, is that right? Do I just go? Yep, there we go. In recent years, I've been referring to myself as an historical, a word Ugandans use when referring to elders or perhaps alumni. So I stand here as a New Wineskins historical, or perhaps you could call me a lifer, who has attended every conference from the beginning in 1994. I was sort of feeling a bit like Elijah under the broom tree. I'm sure all the Trinity students know that connection. Until Jenny asked for other lifers, and we found there were three others: Teresa Noll, Stuart Wicker, and Stephen Ty. And I was thinking about these four people whom I've known for years, and our different gifts, our different backgrounds, and our different callings. And in my case, it has been to be an educator and a chronicler of the New Wineskins movement. So let's see if we can get going here. There we go. Let me go back even further in history than 1994. The Anglican renewal movements of the late 60s and 70s spawned a number of independent mission societies. In 1979, I came to teach at what was then Trinity Episcopal School for Ministry, whose first head was Alfred Stanway, former missionary bishop of central Tanganyika. In its first years, Trinity was focused on renewing the Episcopal Church from within. But in the late 80s, we were approached by the Reverend Walter and Louise Hannum, who challenged Trinity to become a Great Commission seminary, a hub for many of these societies. The Dean President, John Rogers, gladly accepted that call. As a result, 5 mission societies moved to Ambridge, which became known as Gospel Alley. Trinity revised its curriculum to include a full course in mission, hired its first professor of mission, established a master's degree in mission and evangelism, including youth ministry. Wiss Hayes, are you out there? Maybe not yet. Anyway, and founded the Stanway Institute for World Mission and Evangelism, which was first headed by John Rogers himself. Shortly thereafter, and with his usual zeal, Walter Hannum posed the radical idea of a triennial mission conference to be called New Wineskins in Global Mission. Trinity's Dean President at the time, Bishop Bill Fry, who had been himself a missionary bishop, was brought into the proposal and determined that the entire seminary would shut down for a week and attend New Wineskins. The first conference was held in 1994, and the rest is historical. Now, I'd like all Trinity faculty and staff, current students, and alumni to stand for recognition. Okay, thank you. Personally, I supported and facilitated this movement, but never expected to be caught up in the Great Commission myself, at least not in the way it happened. In 1999, my wife, Peggy, and I sensed God's call to come to Uganda and help with getting Uganda Christian University on its feet. So at the third New Wineskins conference in 2000, we came as newly minted missionaries, and our support society, Uganda Christian University Partners, was inaugurated at that time. Happy silver anniversary, Uganda Partners. And if any of you are interested, there's a breakfast tomorrow morning to find out more. New Wineskins coincided with an identity crisis in the Episcopal Church and in the Anglican Communion. To be frank, most Episcopalians had been blissfully ignorant of the global nature of Anglicanism. This changed in the mid-90s. I recall speaking in 1997 in Dallas at the first major gathering of Orthodox Anglican bishops from the West and the global South. This meeting was preceded earlier that year by the Kuala Lumpur meeting of the Global South Coalition in Kuala Lumpur, and led on to the Lambeth Conference in 1998. From this time forth, many of us in the West began to recognize our common bond in Christ with Christians and churches in the global South, as we realized our mutual task to defend the faith and evangelize the nations. Throughout this period, New Wineskins has offered a time of refreshment and a kind of global old home week for people in isolated parishes, dioceses, and provinces. New Wineskins has been a place for divine appointments. It's not only the opportunity for networking, but for hearing God's call on our lives. Last night we heard how Clark and Carol Smith received their call at New Wineskins in 2007. Actually, in 2000, several of these calls happened to us. At 2000, we met a young couple, a lawyer and his wife, who were just coming from their mission committee. He later went to seminary, and he arrived to teach law at UCU 4 years later. Over the 10 years in Uganda, we've greeted missionaries from all over with all kinds of gifts, and now they're children. We had a reunion just a few months ago of generations of missionaries. Now, at our coming out at New Wineskin in 2000, Peggy and I encountered a man named John Lindquist. John, are you out there? He's been to many of these, but I'm not sure I see him. But John was the head of Engineering Ministries International. And 1 year later, a team of 10 architects, engineers, planners came from EMI to our campus and devised our campus plan. And one of its young architects, pictured there, designed our first assembly hall, all of this free of charge. Later then, EMI set up its East Africa office in Uganda, from where it has assisted in various projects within the region. Now, I am coming to our speaker. Uganda Christian University conducts a mission week every semester. Now, Africans know how to do evangelism. And throughout the week, multiple speakers give their testimony, and hundreds of staff and students commit or recommit their lives to Christ. One of the regular speakers during Mission Week, when I came there, was a young lecturer in engineering from Makerere University named Paul Waswa Sembiro. Since that time, Paul has himself been on a journey, being ordained in the Church of Uganda, receiving a master's degree from Fuller Seminary, and now enrolled in a PhD program at Asbury Seminary. Paul served for 6 years as team leader of African Evangelistic Enterprise, which was founded by Michael Cassidy and Festo Kavengeri. In 2019, Paul was called to be university chaplain at Uganda Christian University, which has reached thousands of students through discipleships groups, through week-long missions, which continue up to the present. What the Lord showed Elijah in the wilderness was that his vision for God's people was myopic. He thought he was the only one left standing, when in fact 7,000 saints were waiting in the wings. My testimony as an historical, and it was confirmed last night when the hundreds of you stood as first-time attenders is that there are thousands of individuals like my brother Paul who are ready to take up the call of Jesus to be salt to the earth and light to the world.